Whenever you're ready.
Right. So, because of the No Child Left Behind Act, the economy, and budget cuts on our school districts, many schools have decided to cut the music programs and only emphasize on the core subjects like math, English, leaving the music and the arts behind. For decades, music has been proven to improve cognitive skills, and it has shown to have a positive influence on students. Therefore, I state that music education is essential for student education in the public school system. Music education helps students stay motivated to learn because it is a fun and entertaining subject that requires hands-on time, and it gives the students something to look forward to when going to school. And in some cases, it is even known that music education is offered as a reward to students who do well in core subjects. This only motivates the student to do good in core subjects and use music as a stress relief and fun activity while learning something new. Learning how to read music teaches the student a new language, for learning how to play an instrument consists of learning how to sight read in the same way one reads a book, only that the music you can't stop reading till the written piece is finished being played. Music also teaches the students history and culture. As we all know, each era has its own music. For example, American history is not complete without knowing the great effects of the jazz era and the rock and roll era. And teaching a student Bach brings curiosity to the student's mind of European history. Learning different types of instruments and rhythms teaches the students about cultures as well. An accordion player might learn about German culture, while every musician may learn a couple of Latin words by reading the words on the music. Learning how to read music also teaches the student basic math skills like multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, and how to work with fractions. For example, in music composition, each note is given a value, and according to the time signature, each note inside the music bars added together should equal the amount the composer signals. Music helps the students improve problem-solving skills. One example would be music improvisational skills help the student express himself or herself while coming up with his or her own rhythm patterns, freely while staying somewhat in touch with the music key signatures and time signature, as long as he or she takes up the space offered to improvise. According to the 1999 College Bound Seniors National Report Profile of SAT Programs Test Takers, the College Entrance Examination Board, Princeton, New Jersey, students with coursework experience in music performance and music appreciation scored higher on the SAT, 53 points higher on the verbal and 39 points higher on the math for music performance, and 61 points higher on the verbal, and 42 points higher on the math for music appreciation in students with no arts participation. Music has a positive effect on students on the way they look at society and their involvement in the community, especially in low-income communities, because it helps keep these students involved in an extracurricular activity that would help them avoid gang involvement. As reported in the Journal of Research in Music Education, a study of 811 students indicated that the proportion of minority students with a music teacher role model was significantly larger than any other discipline. 36% of these students identified music teachers as their role models, as opposed to 28 English teachers. 11% elementary teachers, 7% physical and sports teachers, and 1% principals. Playing in a band ensemble also teaches the students the importance of working together with his or her colleagues as a team. Jim Bennett, Secretary and General Counsel, Maytag Corporation, states, "To compete effectively in today's rapidly changing business climate, a firm must have employees who can think creatively and work productively in a team environment. Arts education facilitates the development of those skills more effectively than most classes in traditional basic subjects. I firmly believe education in the arts is both basic and significant in providing young people with important skills for the workplace. Music also has a lot to offer as career choices as technology changes. In the long run, music has many jobs to offer in the job market, like being a musician, music producer, music promoter, etc. According to the case for music in the schools, physician and biologist Lewis Thomas studied the undergraduate majors of medical school applicants. He found that 66% of music majors who applied to medical school were admitted, the highest percentage of any group. 44% of biochemistry majors were admitted. The practicing of an instrument disciplines the students and teaches the student that studying and repetition is the way to help become successful in other classes as well. Former President Gerald Ford stated, "Music education opens and helps students pass from school into the world around them, a world of work, culture, intellectual activity, and human involvement. The future of our nation depends on providing our students with a complete education that includes music. Therefore, I state that music education is essential for student education in the public school system.
All right, Jose, I thought that you identified the topic pretty clearly in your proposition, although you don't highlight what the actual claim is. I mean, I could hear it, I was paying attention, but remember that in audience context, sometimes you've got casual listeners, and so there's nothing wrong with highlighting and saying, so the proposition of this argument is. I could pick it out, but I'm not sure everybody else in here would be able to do so. I thought you did an okay job setting up some background on the controversy, although there's no evidence on that particular point. It would have been nice to have some data about cuts in the music programs, or how many students aren't getting served, or what the difference is between now and 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 15 years ago. I think that would have helped a little bit. There's not really a preview of what the content of the speech is going to be, and so I'm not sure that it stays as well organized as it needs to, and internally I think you need that, because the first half of the speech is all a whole series of assertions. You don't actually present any evidence in the argument until you've been speaking for almost 2.5 minutes, and then you start presenting evidence. And I thought in the second half of the speech you had a lot of good evidence there to support some of the claims that you're presenting, but they're not necessarily connected to some of the inferences that you're making in the first part, and sometimes they're supposed to be connected to that, and it was harder to follow. So I think you need to structure that material a little bit better. Once you did start citing information, I thought you did a pretty good job of citing that information, giving us the qualifications, being clear on the quotes. You had some nice statistical data to support some of the inferences that you're making there. In the presentation, especially at the beginning, it doesn't always seem very rhythmic. Sometimes it feels a little bit like you're reading sections of sentences. When you listen back to it, I think you'll get a sense that the cadence is a little bit awkward. You got better as you went along. You never really had much eye contact with the audience. Don't forget that you have to talk to people, not just read your argument, because you're part of what makes this argument meaningful. You're the person that you're asking people to believe you, and if you don't seem like you are confident that you know what the subject is and you understand the concept, they may not have the same faith in your argument that you do. All right, thank you.